Thomas just throw something my way, like really quickly? I feel like he did. But I want to be clear. I thought it looked like he threw something my way, but that's not how we're starting the pod this week. We're not doing it based on Thomas throwing things at me like a violent son of a bitch. He didn't want to do it anymore. So no, don't blow things at me. Don't demean
I do
me
I
like
do
that.
think that we need a new thing if we're getting rid of the old thing.
I don't want it
I
to be
mean,
Thomas blowing powder
You
into
know
my
what?
face.
No. If I'm not allowed to do it anymore, then I will pass the torch to you, Griffin.
How are
and
you
can-
passing the torch to me? I'd never stop being the host. Regardless,
ooh,
doesn't matter.
You should pass the torch every time.
I don't want to pass the torch. That's ridiculous. This is a ridiculous thing. It's a ridiculous conversation to be having.
We're
But I
ridiculous
think
people.
we are ridiculous people, and we're ridiculous people that this week are going to be drafting or listing, excuse me, our favorite Disney Channel original movies. And we did have one criteria for the list this week. We said it had to be movies that came out prior to 2010 because the odds of any of us seeing anything after 2010 are not great. So there's nothing that we could argue about it. Didn't even realize they were still making Disney Channel original movies, if I'm going to be completely honest. And for our order this week, we're going to go with Thomas and then me, and then we're going to finish up with Andrew. And you guys have anything you want to jump into before we get going? Any lists, movies that you watched to educate yourself prior to this one?
I read a lot of Wikipedia, that's for sure.
Big
I thought about
Wikipedia
trying
guys.
to. I thought about trying to watch some of these at 2 times speed, like during the workday, to remind myself. But I will say, like, I thought I knew way more of these. I looked through the Wikipedia page; it's like endless movies that I've never heard of,
There's
and
so
then
much.
like a handful that I have.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say this for future reference. Like maybe we should talk so much about like things we're trying to do to not work like that, Andrew. Like, gonna get fired. Anyway, I knew all these, super smart guy. One thing I did learn today from Wikipedia, which is a good source, high school teachers. Disney original channel movies didn't start till 97. Before that, it was like until 93. I'm reading it again.
Yeah.
That's when it was Disney Channel premiere family movies. And then 97 on is when they start calling them Disney original channel.
Yeah, I didn't know about that until I also was on Wikipedia within the past couple of days, and discovered that. And going through the list, I was saying earlier, I didn't recognize any of those movies. Like, they're definitely not things that Disney Channel continued to re-air, and if they did, it was at like really random hours when we were little kids. The only one that I did recognize, and it's only because they remade it like somewhat recently with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, was Race to Witch Mountain. And it looked like, it said it came out in like the late 80s or early 90s or something, but the poster looked like it was from the 40s. So clearly Disney has just never been putting that much money into these movies.
You didn't recognize the Parent Trap 2?
Parent Trap 2 was a Disney Channel. Wait.
It's
a
a
sequel
premiere.
to the original, like the OG Parent Trap.
Yeah, my main
Parent Trap
takeaway, honestly, my main takeaway from the research is Disney movies, fantastic. Disney Channel original movies, pretty much garbage.
Yeah, pretty doo-doo. There's some gems in there, but you've really gotta kind of wade through the shit. I did discover that for like a 10-year period, I probably watched every single one of these. Like, I thought that I missed a lot more than I did. I didn't. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. I didn't, but my grandparents did, and I spent a lot of time at their house, like on the weekend, and pretty much like all I did, because they didn't have like an internet connection, was watch Disney Channel and Cartoon Network. And it was more often than not Disney Channel because we watched whatever Taryn wanted to watch.
Anyway, there's a Parent Trap 2, a Parent Trap 3, and a Parent Trap Hawaiian Honeymoon. What I don't understand is I don't see Parent Trap.
I assume
Parent Trap wasn't it?
Parent Trap, the initial, was probably like an actual theatrical release. My real question is, how did they continue trapping the parents in this? Is it the same parents being trapped in each situation? Like, at this point, have they not gotten back together? And if they have gotten back together, and each time their weird little twin daughters or whatever keep trying to trap them back into it, let them get a divorce. Clearly, these people don't want to be together.
Right? Is it the same plot every time, or is it like
know.
a different definition of the word trap? Are they? Is one of them like a horror movie?
When I look real quick, it says sequel each time, and the Parent Trap 3 and Parent Trap Hawaiian Honeymoon both came out in 1989.
They were
what
just
is
churning
weird,
movies out that year. They were just getting after it. They were like, we need content. We've got a channel. Let's get after it.
I think it is different because Parent Trap 2 from the cover only has 2 girls on it. Parent Trap 3 has 3 girls on it. And then Parent Trap Hawaiian Honeymoon has 3 girls and the parents in some kind of canoe, all with leis and Hawaiian shirts on.
Gotcha.
That
So
sounds
I
pretty
got
good.
some
I'd
things to
watch that
watch.
movie. Maybe they ended up having a third sister, and the parents were just really deceitful for the first 2 movies.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna
they were
say. I
like,
think
"Oh
we
no, it
learned
turns out you're not twins. You're triplets."
Yeah, we learned the plot of Parent Trap 3 just by talking amongst ourselves for 3 seconds.
Which again, to get back to the parents and their just fucked up relationship, these people are monsters. If they not only lied to their daughters for a long time about the fact that they were twins, but then for a series of movies, they waited to tell them that, oh wait, there's a third daughter. And in this situation, she's not with either one of them. She's probably just like with a random family, loving her life, not involved in their schemes.
I mean, maybe they just forgot about her. Like maybe it wasn't like we're not telling you. It's like maybe they just forgot. Like
You're
don't give
telling
them
me the
such a hard
mother
time.
gave birth to 3 children and then she was like, it's been 11 years. They're in middle
Hey,
school. Maybe I only gave birth to 2 kids.
hey Griffin, you ever given birth? You want to
I
speak for
haven't.
women
I
right
haven't.
now?
I
You want
haven't
to
given
speak for
birth.
women right now?
I think
I
you're
hope
speaking
that
for women right now. You're accusing her of forgetting about her child.
I'm not accusing of her or anything. I'm saying it happens. My
I
parents
hope
forgot me once.
I hope that the
Now
Women
they,
forget you.
soundtrack for these Parent Trap movies is just trap music for parents.
yeah, but each time it's like they add an extra girl into the vocals.
I don't
Yes.
know how old you think trap music is, but I don't think the soundtrack for each of these movies that came out in the 80s was trap. I can't say for certain. I can't say without a shadow of doubt. Maybe they came up with it and then it just like left popular consciousness for a while, but I don't think that's what happened.
Um, I will say, as I'm getting to my list for the actual night, I, for the longest time, would have sat here and sworn that the same guy acted in all but like 3 Disney of these movies.
Just
And
like
I'd be
a standard like Cali Surfer Bro kind of look. Like,
yeah, but
is he
I thought it was
14? Is he
legit.
18? He's got like dirty blonde hair. He's like kind of in shape,
Some
but he's also skinny
frosted,
fat.
slightly frosted tips.
Oh, he's got to have frosted tips. If he doesn't
But
have
like no, but
frosted
like
tips, the girls
I
aren't going to like him.
once we get through the names and they're revealed, like I will name the ones who I would have bet money was the same person, and 2 of the 5 would be correct.
Can I say before we even jump into it, and
Yeah.
I hope this doesn't ruin anything for any of your lists, but the Lawrence brothers, those 3 brothers that at one point had a TV show, were prolific in the Disney Channel original movies at one point. And I went back through like their IMDb's or whatever. That's basically their careers.
Yep,
Except for
yep,
the oldest brother having his like brief show with Melissa Joan Hart or whatever.
Well, and Matthew
vast-
Lawrence being on Boy Meets World.
And being on
Yeah.
Boy Meets World, yeah. Which I guess I'm pretty sure is a Disney-owned property, right? Like Disney just
Yeah.
runs these kids' lives.
Yeah.
Disney
Which
runs the world.
also found a fun fact before you get started, Thomas. In Jumping Ship, which is, sorry if that's on
The
anyone's list.
the sequel to one of the other Disney Channel original
Matt-
movies.
Yeah, he played a character named Jake Hunter when his name in Boy Meets World was Jack Hunter. I'm just saying, like, what?
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm
I
going to
do
say.
actually
He
feel like
might
I
just
remember
not be that good of an actor, and
He can only play
He's-
characters by
he's
the
like,
name
there's-
of either Jake Hunter or Jack Hunter.
there's just a super limited number of characters that he can portray.
So that was something I went through. Like I had a 15 to 20 list here that I had to dwindle down, and I went with really the main character was the most memorable, and then like I don't think a lot of them aged well, but like
Sure
if
did.
it aged
Definitely.
well, that helped it. But realistically, these are not good movies, and they're not good actors. They are mostly young kids, so like it's fine.
They're not that young.
But
They're a lot of them were like, oh, I'm playing a 13-year-old, but I'm 20, which is just kind of the Disney way.
Disney way. All right, I'll get started though. Number 5 came out in 2000, and I don't like scary movies. Still don't. Like I'll watch them every once in a while if people I'm with want to watch it, but I don't like it. I don't enjoy being scared. This movie legitimately scared me, and I guarantee if I watched it now, like I just laugh. But Phantom of the Multiplex
Oh, banger.
was like, I like it legit freaked me. Like, there's no way it's actually scary. And in 2000, well, I guess I was like 7, so like I was still young, but like I remember it scaring me, but feeling like I needed to watch it every time just to like be cool and prove I could watch it. But it was a freaky thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was the kid version of Phantom of the Opera, and I remember, yeah, obviously, I remember loving it as a kid, and I think I ended up, I don't know, maybe it's on Disney Plus. It's probably on
Phantom of
Disney
the
Plus, and it may have like come up at one point or something. Like maybe Julia or Aaron Hill or something was watching it, or maybe I just like clicked on it because I was going through Disney Channel original movies back when Disney Plus came out, and it is so
Yeah.
bad. Like the sets look like they're out of like a high school theater production. It looks like the cheapest made movie on earth.
That is one of the movies that I haven't seen in a long time. Most of these, where I could there's an actor, the main actor. I thought it was the same person from the other movies. It's someone who I didn't even recognize.
Do you know his name? Did you look up his
I
name?
just looked it up. It's I think it's a Chad, which
One of the Chads?
one of the Chads. Uh,
Phantom of the Multiplex or Phantom of the Megaplex?
Megaplex,
Megaplex, right?
Megaplex.
Yeah, wow.
Uh,
It makes me think that maybe this one's on Andrew's list. If he's out here calling
Taylor
out corrections.
Handley.
Oh, not a
Nope.
Chad.
I just Googled it because it honestly doesn't even ring a bell to me.
Really? I mean,
You're
good for
honestly
describing
better
it.
off. Like you're not missing anything in like
It's
cinematic
the
history.
yeah. I mean, from
Sorry,
what I
Thomas. I know
remember,
it's your number 5 pick, but that movie sucks.
oh yeah. No, I. It's just
It's
it stands out to me so well from like it was such a Disney Channel movie because it's these kids. This 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid is the manager of the Megaplex, and things start going wrong, and there's a phantom, and it's just like any other Disney original movie. It's like Disney Channel original movies. This is gonna be a wordy thing for me to say all night. It's just like, hey, go to an adult, and problems will be solved in 2 minutes.
you wanna shorten it down a little bit. Just call them DCOMs.
Yeah,
Oh,
they,
Channel
they
original
do.
movies, DCOMs.
Most of them definitely have these same like sets of cliches, and they all have like a very just predictable plot that you know where it's going. It's like Disney Channel DComs and Hallmark movies both are like they have the same like structure each one. And it's like
So
the genres are different and stuff, but like
yeah,
you know where it's going.
it's funny you say that because while going through these, one of the things that really stood out to me, and this is like there's something that stands out to a lot of people, which is Disney Channel movies or Disney movies, like especially their animated features, where one of the parents, if not both parents, are always dead. Like that's just a big thing in Disney movies. They hate
yeah,
living together parents. In Disney Channel original movies, the parents are just the dumbest people that have ever walked the earth. Like they're almost always still together, and for all like appearances, they have great marriages. But they don't like seem to know that they have kids, and so they just get off into like hijinks. And then like at the end, the parents are like, "Oh, I'm proud of you," and it's like your
yeah.
kid so reasonably could have like a crazy drug addiction right now or be kidnapped, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
have known a goddamn thing about it.
They always give like a rousing speech at the end, either right before the climax or yeah, right after. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like,
Yeah.
you're the man or girl, woman that I always wanted you to be. You
Go
know,
hug your dad for
whatever.
the first time in like a decade. And it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, clearly they've got
But
like a good family dynamic, but also like the worst family dynamic. They're just like really present absentee parents. I don't know. It's weird. Disney's got some stuff they got to work through.
fun fact, I remember watching Finding Nemo in the basement with my family, and spoiler alert, the mom dies almost immediately. And my mom said, "Nope, I'm boycotting Disney," and then walked upstairs. She said, "I'm sick of them killing the mom."
My
Take a
family,
And she
stand.
just didn't want to watch the movie.
we didn't own Bambi when we were kids because my dad growing up was a hunter, and my mom was afraid that it would like affect the view that my sister and I have of our father. I don't know if Taryn has seen Bambi. I didn't see Bambi for the first time until I was like a teenager, and I was like, "Is this seriously like what she was like worried about?" Like, whatever. I'm sure Bambi's mom tasted great, but I don't know if Taryn's ever seen it. Like, it was something that she was just like trying to dodge that bullet. Unlike Bambi's mom.
It's about building semi-broken main characters. They have a formula and it works, and they know what they're doing.
All right, number 4, classic.
Nothing on these lists is a classic. Let's be clear about that.
Yes.
Nothing on these lists.
This is a Disney Channel original classic movie from 1999, and this is definitely on one of your lists, if not both. Johnny Tsunami. I mean, coolest fucking kid.
Coolest fucking kid in the world.
Coolest fucking name. Like, he was the live action Rocket Power, and it was fucking awesome.
But wasn't like his grandfather Johnny Tsunami or something like that, and then he took on his name or something.
Yeah.
I remember that confusing a young me. Like, I was like, "Who's Johnny Tsunami? Which one of you is Johnny Tsunami?"
Because you're just, as a kid, you're like, if the name of the movie is the name of a person, I automatically assume that the main character is that.
It's like the Lawrence brothers. Like, that's why you play one role all the time, or else people like me are gonna get confused.
Right, Johnny Tsunami, fantastic movie. No, let me take that back. Not fantastic movie. Fantastic DCOM. As far as DCOMs go.
When was the last time you watched it? It could be a great movie.
It's been so long. I have a
college. I watched it in college. That was the last time that I watched it. Was college.
That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, but that's like still like fairly recent in comparison to when it came out. And it was not good.
99.
Yeah, I was in college 2010 to 2015. So, victory lap.
Well, I have great memories of it because it was the coolest fucking movie.
Oh, it was the coolest movie. Yeah. It was so cool.
As someone who has never actually surfed and hasn't snowboarded since I was like 12, pretty sweet fucking sports, bro.
Yeah, we did in our kids shows from the 90s list. I think basically we all talked about Rocket Power and how like all the extreme sports shows and movies really captured you as a kid.
I mean, if you had asked like late 90s, early 2000s Griffin what sports were going to be on top of the world in 2021, I would have said extreme sports. I would have been like skateboarding, snowboarding, mountain biking. Like, if it's in the X Games, it's going to be the biggest sport on earth. And I don't even know if they still hold the X Games. I assume they do, but I don't know.
I would have said the Olympics will no longer exist in 2021. It would just be the X Games.
Yeah, and like American Gladiators. I was like, this is the next step in sports evolution.
Solid.
It is funny because like I don't know what it is about like preteen boys watching movies and TV shows, but I mean like I love sports growing up. But if you're giving me like a football movie and a basketball movie and a baseball movie, I'm gonna put those aside to watch like the rollerblading movie.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, and now I feel like it's very much the opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time they made a rollerblading movie.
I mean, other than like Lords of Dogtown and Grind, I can't really think of like adult skater movies that I'm into.
Yeah, Lords of Dogtown, a little bit different than Johnny Tsunami. Great movie. Fantastic movie. Blue Crush, got to give credit to Blue Crush. Not a skateboarding movie, but a surfing movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some good ones. They just kind of like it. Just like there was a period where they were making a bunch of them, and then like people were like, "Yeah, we don't care about this anymore."
Yeah. Anyway, number 3, which has the actor who I associate with Disney Channel original movies, who I would have sworn was in like 15 of them.
I feel like I know who this is.
His name is Ryan Merriman.
Okay, never mind.
I believe he still acts, not well. But number 3 is Luck of the Irish, because I just remember really liking that movie.
Yeah.
Plus, it has Lassiter from Psych in it, which just shows his age, but pretty awesome.
Is he the leprechaun?
He's the leprechaun.
Can we talk about that really quickly?
Yeah.
Like, he's a grown ass man in that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to compete against middle school children.
Well, he's a leprechaun in that. In the movie, he's a grown ass man like playing a character. In the movie,
Right.
he's a leprechaun, so that's different.
Right, right. But I mean, like, I'm pretty sure I remember him having like he had the face of a grown ass man in that movie. Like he looked his
Well,
age.
yeah, you can't change faces. Do you not know how
Why did
faces
they
work?
have him? Why
You
did they
know
have
how
him?
actors work?
Yeah, no, I understand how actors work. Why did they have him
Mm.
play like a middle school age leprechaun?
He wasn't a middle school age leprechaun. He
Was he
was like an
not?
ancient leprechaun.
Right, but they were playing. Wasn't he on the other team? He was on the other basketball team, right?
No, no. I mean, in the one scene, yes, they competed in multiple sports.
Got it. Okay. I
They
feel
were
like
competing.
I
They were
must not
competing.
remember this very well, which is
They
probably
were
going to throw you guys
competing,
for
and
a
like
loop when it's on my list later. But
he chose the leprechaun chose like the Highland type games, and then when the
oh, to get his coin
character
back, right?
what?
Get his coin back or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
forget exactly, but like then the kid Ryan Merriman chose basketball, and that's why they played basketball.
as
But
everyone does.
it wasn't like he was a rival middle school kid. He was he was a leprechaun
Got
who
it.
was
Okay.
competing against him.
Yeah.
If Ryan Merriman was
Yeah.
cool, he would have chosen skateboarding.
I mean, that's a good enough explanation because I was going to ask either of you if you could recall the plot at all because I really can't. I've definitely seen it around St. Patrick's Day one year as a kid, but
Yeah.
I'm on Wikipedia right now, and the plot is very basic. What they have a 15-year-old basketball player, Kyle Johnson, is depending on a gold charm for luck as he learns that he is a leprechaun on the side of his mother. He needs to get it.
he's a leprechaun.
He needs to get it back to break a spell controlled by an evil leprechaun named Seamus McTiernan, who stole the coin. That's
Just get
their whole
really
plot.
Irish
Like,
with it.
I have way more questions from reading that than I have answers.
Yeah, it was a great movie though. So some would say a classic.
Classic DCOM, another classic one.
It's a classic in the DCOM sense, without a doubt.
Let me confront. God. So he was the kid in Smart House. What he wasn't in, which I would have literally paid my entire savings for, was the 13th year.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's not
isn't
him.
he?
No.
Is it like a
it's
slightly
Ches-
fatter version of him?
No, it's Ches Starbuck.
Ches?
Ches Chez Starbuck.
That's not a real.
There's not a person like I know I have a weird name, but there's no one on earth named Ches Starbuck. That's not a real name. That's
Ches
a fucking like
Starbuck.
boutique.
That sounds like
fashion
a
store.
character in The Fairly Odd Parents.
It sounds like somebody who
Starbuck.
dies in one of the Star Wars movies.
I thought it was just like a.
I'm sure it's a
forgotten
stage
Starbucks.
name. It's probably a stage name, but like, did his parents let him choose his stage name as a 7-year-old? Because it feels like they did.
I'm just saying. I looked it up today.
I'm pretty sure someone just edited the Wikipedia page and was just dicking around, and they put Ches Starbuck.
And
right?
because
there's
it was a decom, Wikipedia's editors were like, we literally don't care to change this back.
Ches Starbuck.
Who needs
He
this
does not
information?
he
does
does
not
not have
have
his own
anymore.
Wikipedia page.
A lot of them don't.
No.
A surprising number of these actors do not have Wikipedia pages, or they do, and their Wikipedia pages are just like they were in Disney Channel original movies. Like Disney did not do a great job of promoting these kids.
You have three options if you were one of these Disney Channel original movie actors. You go the route of like Hilary Duff and like you get your own show and she's still pretty famous. Like she had another show recently. Like you do things. You're like the Lawrence brothers where like you're known for this Disney stuff, but like what else do you really do afterwards? Or you're Ches and Ryan Merriman, who everyone thinks you're the same person, and you try to keep acting like Merriman, but just small stuff. Or you're Ches and you don't have a Wikipedia page.
I love that you
And then when
refuse
you-
to say his last name. He's like Cher now.
Ches.
Good old Ches.
Who the fuck else is named Ches? Literally no one.
No one
Maybe
would name their kid that.
I forgot what pick you were even on. I can't even.
Me too.
I can't even fathom that any real person's name is Ches Starbuck.
Number 3 was Luck of the Irish.
Oh yeah.
But Ches Starbuck is the star of 13th Year. Anyway, my number 2 is a movie I will say I had forgotten about until I found it today and remember it vividly, and do remember really enjoying this one aggressively. It has probably aged so poorly. Like I can only imagine, mainly because of one factor that just makes me laugh. But it's Up and Away.
Dude, we have so much fucking crossover. This is insane.
And the thing that makes me laugh the most is that, for anyone who doesn't know, it's about a kid whose family is all superheroes and he does not have powers. And he's the main character, so he has to save the day.
Yeah.
But his family's weakness, every single one of these superheroes who has like incredible powers, their weakness is aluminum foil.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most college.
It's the dumbest version of Kryptonite.
It's the most college film student. Like, I have to make a movie for my final project, and this is what they made. And it just happens to be that their dad is some CEO at Disney, and it turned into a Disney Channel original movie. Like,
it's the poorest choice of things that they could have a weakness against. Like, outside of literally going the Kryptonite route and just being like, it's a rock. They were like, what does everyone have in their houses? Tinfoil. Okay.
But they just the one probably writer sat down and was like, yeah, in his head or his or her head, they were like, kryptonite. Yeah, like that's kind of like an element, sort of. What's another element? Aluminum, foil. Like, I know that's what went through their head, and it should have died on the writing floor. But
it probably also went through their head that they were like, this is literally the most low cost thing possible because we have $16,000 to make a 90-minute movie. And most of that is going to craft services.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, they're probably in the writer room, like, what should we make their weakness? And they look over and the PA is wrapping up all the snacks for the next day in aluminum foil. And they're like,
because you got to save them. They can't afford to throw them away.
I hope aluminum foil saves our food, but kills the superhero.
I hope it was really dramatic too. Someone was like, what should we have like the thing be that kills them? And the guy was like turned around and he was just like, stop wrapping those snacks.
We need that for shooting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I guarantee if I watched it now, I wouldn't be able to get through it. I bet, mainly because it's going to be so angsty too. Because like the whole thing is him and his crush, whatever. But like I remember loving that movie as a kid.
No. I mean, it is honestly like it's one that I have a lot of great memories of, and. It was a little different from a lot of them because so many Disney Channel movies are like, this is like the one special kid in an area surrounded by people that aren't. Like 13th Year, he's a merman and everybody else is normal. In Up and Away, he has no powers and he's surrounded by people that do have powers. So it's a DCOM kind of flipping the script a little bit and going in a different direction. And yeah, I mean, I liked it. Like, I'm sure it's aged terribly, especially things like the aluminum foil. But as a kid, it was one of the ones that if it came on, like I was going to sit and watch it every time.
The only thing that could have been worse was like if the movie was about aliens coming to the planet and their weakness was water. That's about it.
Oh man, big dagger at signs.
Anyway,
we can get into what that all means later. I mean, there's stuff there that I feel like you're leaving out. But yeah, Up and Away.
On to my number 1, which is a movie I watched fairly recently and still greatly enjoyed, and is, well, my favorite Disney Channel original movie, and that's Brink.
That was predictable.
That was not. Yeah, this is out of left field for me. I did not know this.
Oh, really? Because I feel like
that he watched it recently, or that he loves the movie Brink.
I didn't know that you love the movie Brink.
Everyone loves the movie Brink.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone loves the movie Brink. It's a great fucking movie.
It's a great fucking movie.
I don't even need to like describe it or the plot because everyone knows it because everyone loves it.
You know who's in Brink? The guy who I thought was in every single Disney Channel original movie? Eric Von Detten of boyfriend in Princess Diaries fame. Princess fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have the career I thought he was gonna.
This
you know what?
Brink was like I've said at the beginning, like there was only a handful of DCOMs that I actually really enjoyed and would go back and rewatch a lot. And shockingly, Brink was not one of them. And I know
Oh,
it fits
man.
the mold of like the extreme sports, genres that we were talking about. But I don't know why. I never I've watched it a couple times. I don't remember the plot. I'll be honest with you. I'm
And
sure it's the same as all the others.
It's
yeah,
the X Games. It's like the kid X Games.
Yeah,
it
right.
had everything. It had a super cool but conflicted lead guy, his three best friends, one who's funny and just kind of like there, one who's fat and also funny and just kind of there, then a girl. Then there's a bad guy who you just hate, but there's something about him that the
He's got a
lead
pig
guy wants
nose. I
to be
remember that.
like.
He had a fucking pig face.
Yeah, and if you
Kind of
watch that
rude
movie,
because he's like probably a nice guy, but he had a fucking pig nose.
yeah, but like you watch that movie and you're like, there's no way this guy is in high school. Just doesn't make sense. It
No,
just doesn't
he
make.
definitely had like recently shaved facial hair, like significant facial hair.
But it had all the baggiest of clothes, just the bag like
Oh yeah,
XL shirts for people who should wearing smalls.
sure.
It had rollerblades. It had long floppy hair. Like I mean,
It was a movie of its era for sure.
It had
great
haircuts
movie.
that we never had. 100%.
Yeah,
They
and
had
will never.
long, luscious hair. It's
It
never
has the
made that.
kind of hair I wouldn't imagine I'd want if I was going up in the air and didn't want things to block my view of the ground.
They had like the bowl cuts that like expanded outwards further. Like it was like a parted bowl cut. Yeah.
Yeah, I do this
Yeah.
a
It
lot.
was yeah, you do a lot of that. You throw it back a little bit.
You take your
Whip your
helmet
hair
off,
back
and
and
there's no
forth.
way it's not going to be plastered against your forehead.
Yeah. Yeah,
But it
Yeah,
never
definitely.
was for them. But I will give them this: they always wore knee pads and elbow pads, and I respect that.
Safety first.
Safety first,
Safety first.
teamwork second.
Oh,
All right,
that
so
is the plot of that movie, yeah.
my recap is 5 Phantom of the Megaplex, 4 Johnny Tsunami, 3 Luck of the Irish, 2 Up Up and Away, and 1 just the coolest, most tubular movie, Brink.
All right. I
Less overlap than I thought on my list, which I'm excited about. I thought
an
I thought
excessive
we would all have
amount of
like the
overlap with
same.
my list.
Yeah, I thought we would all have like the same 7, maybe.
I expected that. I honestly, I didn't think about it until we sat down, but I was like, I feel like Griffin and I are gonna have a lot of overlap, and then if anyone was gonna have some shit out of left field, it'd be Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, me as a kid, I basically stuck to Nickelodeon for the most part. I would flip one channel down to Cartoon Network every once in a while if a show that I liked was on, and then Disney Channel. I really just like I just kind of like went by it because all that was ever on was fucking Disney's Recessed, and then. But if there was like one or two of the DCOMs that I actually did like on there, then I would kill an hour and watch it.
Yeah.
So like
They're not long movies. They're like 70-minute
No.
movies. It's like just
Yeah.
barely past an hour, but you got to get like toy commercials in there and stuff.
like if I had the remote, it was probably Nickelodeon over anything. But my sister's like definitely the reason I watched a lot of Disney and why I probably saw, I'd say, the majority of the list of Disney Channel original movies from 1997 to 2010.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was at my grandparents', it was more often than not it was Cartoon Network over anything else. And I didn't even care what was on during the day. I would just leave it on in hopes that Toonami would come on later that evening, and I would have either anime or just like random fight shows to watch. I miss Toonami so much. But yeah, I want to say good list, and it's not a knock on you that it's an awful list. It's a knock on the DCOM cinematic universe in itself.
I don't see myself getting too impressed with anyone's list, including
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. It's just there's not quality top to bottom.
So here's my issue. Because my original list was so long, I'm sure I'm going to like every movie on your guys' list, but I am so prepared to tell you how bad your lists are. So let's go.
There's one in my mind. There's actually 2 genuinely good DCOMs, and we'll get to it. But there's going to be a lot of overlap in my list, and I'm not changing any of my picks because I know that Thomas gets super upset about it when we do that. So number 5 on my list is a movie that I clearly forgot the plot of, The Luck of the Irish. And
You're
here's the thing about
disqualified.
here's the thing about Luck of the Irish. I remember enjoying it. Like, concretely, I do remember enjoying it. I also wanted to have a basketball movie on my list, and I don't remember ever watching the one that has like the two female leads. And the other basketball option, I don't remember. I don't even think I knew.
Oh,
the
what was
women
it?
that were in
Tag
Double
teamed or double teamed?
Double
If you had
teams?
put that on your list, I
I
would.
saw I
I'd
saw
leave.
double teamed on Wikipedia, and I was like, this doesn't feel like a DCOM. Then I went to the Wikipedia summary, and I was like, this is a movie about teen girls playing basketball. Definitely don't put it on your list because exactly this conversation is going to happen.
Yeah,
Terrible.
I have no doubt that you've seen a different movie called Double Teamed, Griffin.
So here's my issue with that movie. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It's not my
At the
pick.
end, she doesn't have that much time. She doesn't have that much time. She.
I don't.
Well,
We're not
I
going
didn't
to keep
see-
talking about
I
Luck of
didn't
the Irish,
see-
Griffin. You don't
I
even
didn't-
know what the plot is. We're going to talk about.
But I didn't want to
Double
pick Luck of the Irish. There was also the
Full Miracle?
movie about it was a Full Court Miracle about the little like Jewish basketball team.
The Jewish team? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm
Yeah,
not
the
picking
Hanukkah
that.
one.
I'm not picking
Yeah.
that. There's no chance I'm picking that. Like that is just gonna be the worst version of On Brand if I pick that. So there was no way it was gonna make my list. So by process of elimination, Luck of the Irish was my number 5 pick.
So okay, I'm never mind.
No,
Fine.
get into it. Say what you're gonna say. Say it with your chest.
I want you to explain to me. Wait, okay, why didn't you pick the Hanukkah one?
Because it just felt like it was,
on-brand.
the Jewish kid picking the Jewish movie. I don't want to do that. Like
Your
if we
top
were like,
pick
what?
last week was bagel with locks.
Yeah, I don't want to make a thing of this.
So Andrew, once
I don't
again,
want you guys putting me in a
list-
box.
Ruben's list isn't his actual like favorite or thing he likes the most. It's just like this fits the criteria.
Right.
No.
want-
I do.
I
Here's
wanted
the
a
thing.
basketball movie.
I do genuinely. I thought I remembered liking Luck of the Irish, and there's like a lot of
the
like
movie.
there's a lot of like random scenes from it that I remember of the DCOMs. It's like one of the ones that I just remember like random scenes from. Like there's a point where he's like hiding from the security guards in a warehouse, and whatever reason that just like goes through my head all the time. I don't know. Let's not dive into it. But like I just remembered liking it.
You
And yeah.
thought until 15 minutes ago, you thought it was a movie about an adult leprechaun going to middle school. and
No,
then
I didn't
his
think he was going to middle
His rival
school.
basketball team had the 13-year-old. Like,
No,
what?
no. I
Yes.
remember the whole plot about like him having the piece of like Irish gold or whatever it was, and the other leprechaun was trying to acquire all the Irish gold, and it was like his mom's or his dad's or his grandfather's. I remember his grandfather, who was like an actor that is in other stuff. He was like a recognizable guy. His grandfather was.
An actor in something else, yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't
AKA,
committed to the DCOM.
one of the
life.
best actors to ever appear in a DCOM.
Yeah, it's like him and the Lawrence brothers, because they did other things,
Is it right
Wait,
here? Right
hold
here.
on.
and like Hillary
on.
Duff.
I would like to propose a list night first. I would like to propose a punishment for whoever gets last place this week. Do we
what-
agree?
I'm not ever going to say no to
Okay.
a bet. So yeah,
What,
here's-
what's the punishment?
here-
'Cause I'm in.
here's my proposal. Whoever gets last
Yes.
has to take over list night's social media for a day and sit down and watch all 5 of the movies that are on their list.
What kind of time do you think I have?
there are
Okay,
70-minute movies. Like all that takes is like a morning.
Yo,
Watch them at like 3 times speed.
big news though. Luckily, Irish has a remake in 2012 for Indian television.
Are you
called-
talking about it like
How
2012 is the
how
future?
does Luck of the Irish have a remake for Indian television?
They I'm gonna mispronounce it, so I kind of
Probably
don't
just don't even
it.
try. Probably don't even try then.
Was remade into an Indian television film directed by Khan, featuring actors.
Did you just pronounce Khan backwards and say knock?
No, I can't pronounce his first name or her
Okay.
first name, but the last name is Khan.
Okay,
But
all right. The Wrath
I
of.
think we should watch that.
Sure. We can add that to the list of things that we're doing on social media. But I will agree that whoever loses list night this week has to. I will agree to that. They have to watch. They have to watch all
Has
of
to
them.
at
And they've
least,
got a live
has to at
tweet.
least watch one of their movies.
I think you got to
So-
watch all of them. I say you make a week of it.
We're talking about watching them on Redbox, who's our sponsor, and not Disney Plus, right? Who
Stop
hasn't sponsored
saying.
us yet.
Stop saying that they're a sponsor because they don't sponsor us yet. And like I like having this podcast. I don't want to take it away from me. We've made like $3 so far. I
Let's
want to
be-
see that movie someday.
Griffin, we're going to be in business much longer than Redbox. They're not making it much
Well,
longer.
don't hate on the potential sponsor
Potential
either.
sponsor.
They're coming back. Oh,
want them
fuck,
to.
Andrew.
All right. We're way off track.
We're so off track. All right, number 5, Luck of the Irish. My favorite movie. It's my favorite movie. I know so much about it. Number 4, also one that was on Thomas's list. Up and Away. I actually vividly remember this movie, and I was going through the Wikipedia summary, and I was like, wow, I actually like pretty much like plot point for plot point remember all of it. I didn't remember the ending of it. I didn't remember that they like lost their memories, and then the main guy and the girl like reconnected with each other just because I guess they had a spark. But also they're in like 8th grade, so like, kid, it's not gonna last. Like, who cares? You're not gonna be dating her 30 days later. Who gives a shit?
Nice.
Stay away from aluminum. But it was like Up and Away was, I mentioned it earlier. It was cool because it was a kind of flip of the script on how the DCOMs usually like structured their movies. And like whenever people post like when Umbrella Academy came out and when Runaways came out, people would always post Sky High as like the original Disney Channel movie that gave way to these kinds of movies. Up and Away was the original Disney Channel movie that gave way to these kinds of movies. It was like the teen superhero movie at a time where there was not a lot of like superhero content, and just because he wasn't an actual superhero, it was still super cool as an 8-year-old.
I don't think Sky High is even Disney.
I don't think it's not a Disney Channel original movie, but I think it might be owned by Disney. I'm not sure. It might not be. I think it was on Disney.
Anyway, I also read the Wikipedia today to remind myself. At the end of the movie, they're on the same soccer team and they're voting for captains, and they both vote for each other, so they're co-captains.
They're co-captains. Yeah, I remember reading that and being like, if I were to watch this today, which may end up happening if I lose, I'm going to scream vomit.
That's why I said like it probably didn't age well, but I remember loving it.
Yeah. Yeah, at the time I was probably like, that's cute. I can't wait for them to end up together. I'm 8.
I probably didn't think that. I was probably like, man, I wish I was captain.
Yeah, well.
There are movies where like I watching them as a kid, I remember having a good feeling at the end. Like, wow, like that was a nice like ending. And then I'll watch one of those kids' movies as an adult, and I'm like, this is the cringiest shit I've ever seen in my entire fucking life.
As a kid,
it works on kids, yeah.
You root for the protagonist in DCOMs when you're a kid. As an adult, I actively root against them. I'm like, you're so annoying. I hope you get put up for adoption. Like, your family's better off.
Cynical.
I don't want to get too off track because I know this is going to piss you off, but that's how I feel about Harry Potter all the fucking time. I hate the character Harry Potter. All right,
I mean,
what's your number 3?
He's kind of a little douchebag. My number 3, again, a pick that has already been made, but it's not in my 1 spot. It's in my 3 spot. Brink was my number 3 pick. You kind of went through all of it. Like, it was the coolest movie. It was basically, if you guys remember the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie and how that movie opens up, they're like skydiving and then they're rollerblading. They basically took that like 2-minute clip and turned it into like just like the most badass movie. And they put Eric Von Detten in the main role, and he was super cool, and he was like super vibes, and he probably said words like bodacious and tubular. And like he's probably like one of the original guys saying awesome before everybody said awesome. He might have been the OG guy saying tight. Tight's still in my vernacular. Probably should get rid of it at some point, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, it was just a cool movie. And also, I don't know if you revisited the soundtrack. I revisited it while I was like writing out my reasons for everything today. It's not a bad soundtrack. Like, it's a very early 2000s alt rock sound. Like, it's not like actual songs that you would recognize, but it's like Disney Channel versions of them where it's like, we're going to make it sound like modern alt rock, but just like not pay these guys a lot of money. It's a good soundtrack. You got to respect a good soundtrack.
Yeah. Griffin, by the time this episode drops, you're basically in the process of moving to California. And how much of that do you think is deep down just from watching all these like surfer and just extreme sport type things growing up that
a
you
significant
associate
amount
with? Yeah.
You're too uncoordinated to try to do it now, though.
I'm going to get out there and I'm going to be like, man, I'm going to be the fucking coolest 13-year-old at school.
Audacious.
And they're going to be like, you're 29. You got to stop referring to yourself as a kid and talking about how you're a Cali kid because you're pushing 30.
I'm glad you brought up Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because what kind of parents let their supposedly 16, 18-year-olds just go skydiving? Just like, because they were all skydiving by themselves. They weren't with a instructor. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I feel like if I don't remember the parents in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers outside of like the ones that got captured by Ivan Ooze. Like there was that little kid whose dad got captured. I don't remember like Tommy and Jason and all those guys and Kimberly. I don't remember them having parents.
They don't.
Like, was there some sort of like weird orphan thing going on where it's like you got to be an orphan to get these powers because if Zordon wants to take them away from you, no one's going to come looking for you.
In the comics and in the most recent movie, which I actually like the most recent movie.
Pretty good movie. Pretty good
There's
movie.
parents, but in the original movie and shows, I don't remember there ever being parents. But anyway, Brink, fucking awesome.
Just one more time on the newest Power Rangers, the parents being part of it was like a major factor. And it was, the newest movie was very like Breakfast Clubby. Like it was like them dealing with their relationships with their parents and stuff like that. Good movie. If you haven't seen the most recent Power Rangers movie, it's very cheesy. It's very over the top. But it's pretty good, and it's got good actors in it. It's got the bad guy from Stranger Things. Something I don't remember his name. He's cool. He's good in it. He doesn't have a weird fucking mustache. He doesn't beat up his little sister. It's a good movie.
For a list about Disney Channel original movies, we are talking about a lot of movies that are not on the list.
Because DCOMs aren't that good.
We're talking about better movies.
Yeah.
We're talking about much better movies.
We should have said movies that we want to watch instead of watching DCOMs. Because they're not that good. Number 2 on my list, surprise, surprise, it's been mentioned, Johnny Tsunami.
Did you just come unprepared? So you just took Thomas's list?
I have literal paragraphs of this stuff up on my screen about my reasons for this stuff. If I had gone first this week, Thomas would have looked like such a fool, but he didn't, or I didn't. He went first, so I look like a dumb idiot.
But at least you're not being like, well, this was already taken, so let me just find another one.
You're right. I'm sticking to my list because this is not a draft. This is a list, and this is my genuine list. Except for the fact that number 5 on my list is not a movie that I remember.
Yeah. I mean, your number 1 better blow it out of the water, but I'm feeling better about my list now because even though I don't love my list, at least it's a little bit more unique. So maybe the votes will split between me and then you guys. So I'll get me guys and you guys.
Me guys and you guys. Here's the thing about Johnny Tsunami, and Thomas didn't really comment on it, probably because we were too busy making jokes every time he tried to talk. Johnny Tsunami is basically like every mountain movie, much like the ones that like Always Sunny spoofed, but like a kid version of it. And it's like a competition with like way higher stakes than any movie should ever have for a fucking skiing competition. There's a father figure who offers like sagely advice. There's multiple extreme sports. He's surfing, he's snowboarding, he's getting the girl. Like, you could age up everybody in that movie and just make it a little bit less cheesy, and it would be like every 80s movie. It would be like Karate Kid. It would be like Point Break.
Less
it would
cheesy,
be like so many
make
things.
it a little more cheesy, and that would be
a different kind of cheese. There'd be more gratuitous sex.
Deep in the cheese. It
was unfortunate timing for that comment.
No,
fortunate timing.
I was thinking about it too. I was thinking about it earlier. It's like all these movies, you can easily pick out grown-up movies. That. Like
it's the laziest form of script writing. They're like, this movie exists 11 years ago. Kids. Let's make it for kids, and let's make sure that it looks like it was shot on like a cell phone from 2004.
Yeah, but it's all stories are the same. All stories are the same. That's what it is. They're. I mean, The Lion King is Hamlet. Like whatever.
Yeah. But when we have our philosophical like film, I just mispronounced philosophical film podcast. We'll talk about how all stories are just a man goes to town or a man goes looking for something. Like that's pretty much all stories.
The only one that's really unique is Luck of the Irish, and you didn't even remember it because it's different.
Well,
that's what happens when you try to be different with a plot.
Yeah, it's that's memorable. What happens when I don't just pick the Jewish choice. Now I know.
Just stick
Just stick what? Just stick what, Andrew?
I was gonna say just stick to the Shakespeare, but
Yeah.
you know,
Was that what you were
whatever.
gonna say? Who's to say? Number one on my list, and I had said ahead of time. I don't know if this is gonna make the recording or not. I said that this is probably gonna catch me some flack, but I actively think this is the only objectively good movie on my list. Number
You put
one,
Brink on your list twice.
that would be
I think
something.
I know what you're gonna say.
Number one for my favorite DCOMs is High School Musical.
Yeah.
High School Musical is a genuinely good movie that clearly had a bigger budget behind it than a lot of these other movies. I don't think it was really considered an all-star cast at the time, and it's still not like an all-star cast, but there are people in High School Musical, even outside of Zac Efron, who are genuinely famous today, who went on to do other things. And I think a lot of that was off of the strength of High School Musical being an actual phenomenon. I know I'll probably get some heat from people for not picking High School Musical 2 because I think some people think that's a better movie. High School Musical for me, like never a movie that I was ever ashamed to say that I loved. Like I know that was like the thing back in the day that you never admitted that you saw High School Musical, just like you never admitted that you watched The Notebook. High School Musical was awesome. The songs were awesome. The character dynamics were awesome. It was a movie about somebody finding themselves. It was a sports movie. It was a movie about like high school. Like there's so much happening in High School Musical. And if you don't like come to your feet at the end of the movie when they're singing Breaking Free and you're not like belting it out yourself, you're not a person and you don't know what love feels like because that song is amazing.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm saying it
So-
right now. If you've never done it, well, you haven't experienced love.
I won't. Like I remember not caring about High School Musical. Like I don't think you're wrong. Like yeah, I think it's of all the Disney Channel original movies, it's like probably one of the best like actual movies. Even
Just
though
say DCOMs. Just say DCOMs.
Yeah.
Stop refusing to say it.
no, no, yeah, they're all like famous, but like it's terrible fucking acting when you watch it. But they're all
Oh,
young in
the
their
acting's
careers.
not great.
I get it,
Yeah.
but
It's
I-
musical
I
acting though. It's
definitely-
like
I
stage
wasn't-
acting.
I wasn't like, oh, I don't like High School Musical. I was just like, I really don't give a shit about High School Musical. Now I'm like, yeah, I get it because my college roommate used to sing Breaking Free and shit like that. So like, I totally get it, but
Yeah.
I don't. It wasn't even in my top 15. Like it wasn't on my radar.
I
Yeah,
hope that I
actually,
lose this
It
week so
also
that I can
feels like
rewatch
it's
it.
so late. It feels like it came out after 2010, even though I know it didn't.
Right. It does feel like a different era, even though, I mean, it's only a few years after some of these picks. But I mean, I agreed with you for the most part, Thomas. Like in high school and stuff, I had zero interest whatsoever. And I know it was like still becoming a phenomenon as the second one was coming out and everything. But it wasn't until probably midway through college where I actually sat down with some friends and actually watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
Obviously, by then I knew the big songs from it. So I could recognize those, and there was plenty of karaoke night where people would insist on singing them, and of course they grow on you and they're fantastic songs. A couple of them are not so much.
Yeah, some of them are like cheesy
but
high
yeah-
school bullshit.
Right, but it is like in hindsight, it is like it's so much more of a phenomenon than these other DCOMs that you almost second guess yourself. You're like, is this a Disney Channel original movie or was this like an actual Disney movie? Like, but it was a made for TV DCOM.
It was made for TV,
so which
and
is kinda-
because of the success of them, I'm pretty sure the third one ended up having like an actual theatrical release. Like pretty much all the others, you go through the list of DCOMs, all of them that got sequels, they all did worse than the original, and like the original didn't do that great. This is the only one that progressively got more attention to it and was like an actual, like there were high schools doing productions based on it and stuff. Like it was, there was a South Park episode about it.
I don't think I ever saw the third one. The second one's when they work at like a country club, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen the third one. I just remember it was huge, and I'm pretty sure it made a ton of money.
And the second one is when they have like him and Corbin Blue have the Zac Efron and Corbin Blue have the duet in the junkyard, right?
Maybe. I remember the scene where he's like singing on the golf course.
I just remember them being in the junkyard and being. My favorite thing in stuff like that is when they're singing, but it's like angry and they're like pounding on things, and it's so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
A lot of sexual tension
Also,
between Zac Efron and Corbin Blue.
Dude loves Zac Efron. Great.
Love Zac
And
Efron.
Vanessa Hudgens is awesome.
Yeah.
And
Corbin
Ashley-
Blue, though, another weird name. Not as weird as, what was it? Ches Starbuck? Or
Ches Starbuck.
Yeah.
Ches Starbuck and
But
Corbin Blue coming to you this summer.
That would be the dream team of DCOMs.
Oh, shit.
Let's
That's
start
a nightmare team. That's a nightmare team.
Kickstarter.
I think my biggest issue with this pick is, and Andrew nailed it, like it just feels like such a different generation almost. Like I looked, it's 2005, 2006.
Yeah, it was like
But like
beginning
it
of high
feels
school
like
for us.
it came out way late.
I
Like, it feels like it came out
I
way
do know
late.
what you're talking about because I feel like the hype was at like an all-time high during High School Musical 2, and I want to say that was when we were like going into college-ish, like 2008, 2009.
2007.
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
So
maybe,
we were-
maybe I
we
didn't
were-
see it. Maybe I
we
didn't
were
see the second
freshmen
one until
and
college.
sophomore.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I
they
don't
pushed
know.
out the second one quick.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenon, but that's my list. I think probably on the strength of number one, I'm going to get some votes that I don't deserve because I don't remember the plot of my number 5, and literally 1 through 4 are ones that Thomas already has on his list. But to go through it again, number 5, The Luck of the Irish. Number 4, Up, Up and Away. Number 3 is Brink. Number 2, Johnny Tsunami, and number 1, the original High School Musical. And Andrew, take us away. Like, show us how your list is different than ours, and just blow our minds.
Before Andrew starts,
Don't blow our
Andrew,
minds
if I
yet.
can write down right now what your number 1 is, if I'm right, you have to watch my 5 movies.
You're gonna write it down? No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you know what I've talked about my number 1 before. I'm not like the biggest fan, but compared to the other DCOMs, yeah, I am.
I have a suspicion
write it
that I know what
down
it is.
so everyone
but
can. Yeah, write down every single DCOM and then cut in the one that so that you have it ready to go.
I'm
Okay,
writing
I'm going to put it in my notepad on my
is
phone.
Andrew's number 1.
I'm not taking that bet because I do think you'll probably guess it.
I'm putting it in my phone.
Yeah, so
and at the end, if it is his number 1, we're just going to hold it up for the audience. But if we're wrong, we're going to cut this part out entirely, and that way we're not embarrassed.
So a little less overlap for mine, but 2 of them still are overlaps. So
There's
so I
not a
can
lot of
jump through
good picks.
Can jump through those pretty quick. Okay, my number 5 is Johnny Tsunami. And actually, the only thing enough has been said about Johnny Tsunami. All I'll say is that I love my placement of this pick because I'm going to have the number 5 for the preview Instagram post, and everyone's going to say, "Wow, Andrew's list is really looking good." Little do they know that
and
both
your
of you have
fucking
Johnny
weekly gamemanship. Andrew out here.
Little do they know.
Thomas accuses me of like trying to win every week, and that's a fair point because I do win so often. But you know who's fucking always just trying to get the votes? It's this guy, Andrew Simon. I'm pointing at him on my
It was
screen.
not intentional. It was not intentional placement. I mean, no, it was intentional, but I'm saying not for that reason. Like I set my order. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying now that I look at your number 5s and my number 5, I'm happy with it.
So the saying is like, you're playing checkers, I'm playing chess, but it's like Griffin and I are playing checkers and Andrew's like playing Connect 4 by himself.
Yeah, playing Parcheesi.
Well, I'm gonna win.
I don't think
I don't
you
know.
are.
I think
You haven't even
The thing
made
is-
your top 4 picks yet, and I just don't think you're gonna win.
the thing is, I think Luck of the Irish is going to be a huge thing as Griffin's number 5, and I think Phantom of the Megaplex, while not as huge, is pretty niche, and like I think it's going to get people to be like, "Oh, I forgot about that. That's a great movie. Thomas is hot. Let's vote for him."
Yeah. Thomas,
That's what a lot of people have been saying lately.
Thomas, physical icon that he is. We got to vote for him.
Johnny Tsunami, another physical icon. I'm talking
Teenager,
about the grandpa,
teenager.
obviously.
Yeah.
Actual Johnny Tsunami.
The OG
Of course,
Johnny.
of course.
Yeah. All right. So that's enough has been said about that one. Okay. Number 4 is a unique one. I was going to say I'm surprised it didn't end up on either of your lists, but I'm not. It's Motocrossed from 2001. So I did really like this movie. I remember watching this movie with my sister pretty young, and it was definitely one of the ones that I would go back and rewatch if it was on. But basically, for those that don't know, it's just a sister who basically pretends to be her brother to compete in a motocross event. It's kind
As
of
one
like
does.
a classic Mulan type women disguising as a man to achieve her goals in a man's world type movie. And again, it has that trope of just extreme sports, which we all love so much at that age. So yeah, just like that movie.
I considered it because I do remember really liking it. I didn't put it on one because I liked My Five better. Like it was probably like it was in my top 10, but also I can't imagine watching that now because like it's got to be one of the most cringeworthy of all the ones we've listed. Like it's got to be just so rough to get through. But I do remember watching it with my sisters. Like it, I remember really liking it, and it was one of those movies where I was like, oh, it's a girl lead, so like I can't talk about how much I like it, but like I liked it. It was cool.
It was a cool movie, and I agree. If I end up in last place, I am not looking forward to doing my suggestion and having to watch this movie.
If you had asked me who the brother was in this movie, I would have said one of the Lawrence brothers. I just looked it up
Ryan
and it is
Merriman?
not, but I was fully confident.
Well, they were blonde.
They were
Yeah.
blonde.
Also,
Oh,
apparently,
you can't dye your hair.
yeah, that's not a thing that they can do. They're like dirty blonde. Let's be clear about that. Based on Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare. Who would have known?
Really? Wow.
Shakespearean
There's
DCOMs.
there's a few DCOMs and just Disney movies in general, obviously, that are, I mean, based off Shakespeare. That who knew?
I mean, look, once a great story's been written,
probably
just take
most
it.
film people knew that.
Yeah, You think most film people knew that the Disney Channel original movie Motocrossed was based off of a Shakespearean work? I would disagree with you.
I don't care.
do not think most film people would know that.
I assume that's what they teach you in day one of film school.
How DCOMs relate to classic literature.
If I remember correctly, this goes back to the parents being terrible.
I think so.
Like they're like the dad doesn't know it's her for like most of the movie, right?
And she's like very still,
Yeah,
like she's
and
clearly still herself. Like she doesn't like change her fucking bone structure. It's not Mulan
they're
where
twins,
she like
but really
avoided
it's
her
just a
family.
haircut.
Like Mulan changed
Yeah,
her
no,
appearance and then immediately left.
Well, the dad is a dick, and because it's like her brother gets injured, and then they have like this French guy or whatever coming in to replace him on the team, and he turns out to be this complete asshole.
Ricky
to
Talladega
her.
Nights.
And yeah, Shakespeare, Talladega Nights, and Motocross, all basically the same plot.
Yeah, they're hand
And I just said Shakespeare because I don't remember which play you said.
12th Night. But I don't know 12th Night, so that doesn't mean anything.
I bet you it's about a brother and sister, and the brother gets hurt on his motorcycle, so the girl has to race for him.
You think he gets okay? I mean, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I meant carriages.
They're actually separated in a shipwreck. And I'm reading it very quickly on Wikipedia. I'm not going to be able to read it that quickly.
All right,
Okay.
Solid pick, Andrew.
It was in my top 10 list. Yeah, it was in my top 10.
All right. Number 3 is another unique one. Didn't end up on either of yours.
Stop saying unique. It's not unique. It's just
unique to the three of us.
Unique to this podcast made up of 3 people who need better opinions on things.
Yeah.
2 of which who had 4 of the same.
And this is another one. I don't think it's very good, but
it's on your list.
Attention as a kid. It caught my attention as a kid, and it was again one that I would rewatch because I found it interesting. And it's Smart House, 1999.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, at that age and at this age, I liked like cool gadgets and technology and things like that. So the idea of Smart House, especially way before smart technology was a thing, was really cool. There was a few things that the house did that I'm jealous of and I wish existed in real life. Like I don't know
try
if
to kill the family.
Yeah, that no. But you remember the floor absorber that basically clean the floor whenever you spilled anything on it? Yeah. And then it had like the walls that would basically be full screen and could basically show you any pictures or movies or whatever. So that was cool. And I thought it was overall pretty funny. Like I liked the whole thing about the house basically turning into a 1950s housewife, but also like mad for power, basically. So yeah, I just thought it was like an interesting idea as far as DCOMs go,
Plus, it had
and I liked it.
Katie Seagal as the Smart House. So
Yeah,
Pat.
from Sons of Anarchy.
This was on my list. It got bumped down because of Luck of the Irish. Because I will say, like Griffin, I wanted like the sports movie on there, but then it got bumped off because of Phantom of the Megaplex. But it was definitely on my list, and it is Ryan Merriman, the same guy from Luck of the Irish.
Mhm.
Yeah, phenomenal movie. I mean, I got nothing.
They just
against this
keep
pick
going to the
whatsoever.
Ryan Merriman well. Kid is busy.
He's no Ches Starbuck, but
How could he be? How could he be with a name like Ryan Merriman? Couple things about this movie, and I'm on the Wikipedia page right now. Who knew? Directed by LeVar Burton. That's an interesting.
Wow.
I didn't know. I didn't know LeVar Burton had a directing career. Maybe this is what ended it. Maybe it was just
the
like
start and finish of it.
it was DOA because they were like, dude, probably don't get behind the camera anymore. Another thing about this movie, and this is a really weird specific thing to me, for some reason, I always conflate, and I was thinking about putting this on my list. I always conflate this movie and the Tyra Banks movie where she's a Barbie come to life. And I don't know what.
No,
I don't. I pulled it up. Life Size is what it's called.
life-sized.
Yeah,
Life-sized.
it's her and it's Lindsay
How do you
Lohan, and I don't remember who the dad was. But I
How
don't
do
know
you
what it is.
confuse those
They have
movies?
nothing in common with each other. But for some reason, I'm like, oh, a non-real person becomes your mom, and like there's like weird things going on. And I love Tyra Banks, so I was like thinking of this movie, and I legitimately was remembering scenes from this movie with Tyra Banks as the mom in them. And then I went and I watched the trailer on YouTube,
That'd be
and I was
better.
like,
Yeah.
that's a white woman. That's not Tyra Banks. I was going through something. I don't know, but yeah, another movie that it didn't make my top 10, but it was right outside of it. Even though I remembered it being a very different movie starring Tyra Banks.
LeVar Burton has directed more Star Trek episodes than any other former regular cast member. He has directed episodes of Charmed, Jag, Las Vegas, Soul Food, the series, as well as the miniseries Miracles Boys, and the Tiger Woods story. Ooh.
Wait, like the new one, or was that like an old?
Probably like a
old
Disney Channel
documentary?
original
this
one
is-
where he's a kid.
No, this is from '98.
Oh, okay.
But the only real movie I see is Smart House. So
So, like I
Well,
said, very DOA.
one
They
and
were
done.
like, they gave him one shot at a DCOM, and then they were like, you are never making it to the big screen.
Yeah, because the quality assurance
Butterfly
at
in
the
the
Disney Channel
sky.
original movie studios was just
Yeah.
it.
All
Yeah. Anyways, that's Smart House.
That is
two.
Smart House. Starring Tyra Banks.
Number two, I also included High School Musical on mine, and when it came down to it, I had to put it this high because much like the Disney movie Frozen, where I don't think the movie is necessarily that good. Honestly, I think it's a bit overrated. However, I feel like Let It Go is just a great song, so it basically holds the entire movie together. That's how I feel about High School Musical with the song Breaking Free. It's that good that it jumped it all the way to number 2 on my list. And I mean, yeah, this was one I never watched as a kid, didn't watch till college. And it's just the song grew on me over time. So it made it to my number 2 spot.
I don't have like an affinity for the song, but I do agree with your explanation of the pick over Griffin's for sure.
All right, well, you can
both
suck
dumb.
me. I can't disagree with you on this because I have 3 full sentences in my notes about how good of a song Breaking Free is and how bad of a person you are if you don't enjoy it, Thomas. So, I mean, I think it deserves a number
Say I
1
don't
pick.
enjoy it, but like
I think it deserves a number 1 pick, but am I mad at you for making it your number 2 pick? Only a little bit.
Well,
That's, yeah.
but not as mad as at you as you are at Thomas. So
Oh,
that's
I'm
what
significantly
matters.
more angry at Thomas for not even thinking to include it, and not even having an honorable mention category for the song "Breaking Free" from the movie High School Musical, the best DCOM of all time.
I didn't even write High School Musical down on my list tonight, and mine was 15 long. Didn't even.
And I think it
wasn't even,
makes
like, starting
sense
to
that
write it.
you've won the least number of list nights thus far. I think there's a correlation there.
I've won the most important list nights. I've won the most important list nights.
I really
You won
wonder.
minor
I won
holidays. You won one. Oh, you think you're gonna win the one that hasn't?
the emotional food one.
You
You
think that you're gonna win the one that's currently being voted on? We'll revisit this and we'll put in the video, if you're watching the YouTube video, who won that video. And Thomas is about to go vote with his burners. I can see it in his devilish little eyes. But I don't think he's gonna win.
I've never done that.
Someone-
I have inspired 3 people to eat hot dogs because of that. All right, that's a win.
They're
That's
the
a win.
cheapest food
All
on
I know
earth.
is
That
that
doesn't
in-
cost them a lot.
In the video right now, someone is going to look like a damn fool because we're going to be showing the results, and one of you is going to look real dumb. It's not going to be me because I definitely got last.
Hot dogs are
Well-
not always cheap, as I talked about in the podcast. Like when you're at a baseball game.
We're
like
not doing hot dogs again. We're doing High School
back to
Musical.
hot dogs.
We're back on the hot dogs.
All right,
No more hot
All right,
dogs.
we're not even doing Andrew's picks anymore. We're back to a podcast.
No,
A
the
hot
last
dog
thing
pod.
the last thing I was going to say about High School Musical is I
There's
I do
not enough hot dogs.
I do wonder not enough hot dogs, but also
There might
I
be
do
some hot
wonder
dogs. I don't remember.
if the actors in High School Musical would have gone on to have the careers they've had, or like been as known as because we were saying they're like such a higher grade of actor compared to the other DCOM actors. I wonder if that would have been the case had High School Musical not been the hit that it was.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, I don't think so. But like I said earlier, like Zac Efron acting in that movie is bad. Zac Efron is a good actor.
I also think there's an
That's
element of sadness to that, because that means we missed out on Zac Efron being in more DCOMs, and then he could have been the Eric Von Detten or the fucking Ches Starbuck of the DCOM world, and maybe he would have been in better movies. Who's to say?
Nobody.
I
nobody
think
wants
you're
to be the
wrong
Ches
because
Starbuck.
this was around the time where I feel like we all stopped watching Disney Channel original movies.
Well, because they hit such a high that we were like, there's no way
I
they're
had
going to top
stopped
this.
before.
Yeah, this was their
Like
peak,
looking
and there
at
was
looking
only
at
down
what
from
came
here.
out afterwards. Like it's a lot of movies I know the name of, but then it's a lot of sequels and stuff. Like, why wouldn't they call it Johnny Tsunami too when they call it Johnny Kapahala Back on Board?
I don't have an answer to
Yeah,
that question.
Why
but
not Johnny Tsunami too?
I do want Andrew to get to his number one pick, because I want us to pull up our notes and see if we were right.
Well, I'm gonna make you wait for it. No, okay.
Dead air.
Number one, just get ready. I know you guys got it. It's 2003, the Even Stevens movie.
What the?
There it is.
Oh, I was
There.
wrong. I was way wrong.
All right, so Griffin was wrong.
Can't
What'd
see
you
it.
have, Griffin?
Alley Cat Strike.
I can't see it.
That's right. I'm surprised that wasn't on yours, Griffin.
I honestly
No,
thought the
Even
way that you were
Stevens.
making it sound, because of like part of the reason that we chose this as our list is because of the guy that did the 710 split the other day, and then like that's the Alley Cat Strike,
didn't
like
do it the right
iconic
way.
move. What's up?
He didn't do it the right way.
He didn't do it the right way. He didn't
didn't do it
check
the
the
right
air.
way.
He didn't like slow roll it. Yeah, I honestly feel like you shouldn't even count it. But I did think because of that Andrew was gonna pick it. I'm embarrassed. I've
No.
never seen
it's
the Even Stevens movie.
The Even Stevens movie is, again, not a good movie. But out of all the DCOMs, it's the only one that I think I would go back and watch right now, because I found it entertaining as a kid, and I think more entertaining than these other ones. And also, I just have 2 words for you, Thomas. I'm talking to you here.
I'm
Hot
listening.
dog. Do you remember the
yes,
chair
yes.
that he was building? That was
The
like
chair
whole...
is one of the coolest
Yeah.
things I've ever seen in any movie ever, and I've seen movies.
Yeah, so he just wants to like relax for the summer, and he like builds this big like robotic chair that fed him hot dogs and put mustard on his hot dogs for him.
It's
Oh,
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that
I don't
your-
know
is that
how
your
this didn't
Tinder
make
bio?
Thomas's list for
I've
that
seen
reason
movies.
alone. But
See,
basically the rest of the plot is they like win a vacation. The family wins a vacation, but it's like actually a TV show that they're on. It's kind of like a Truman Show type situation where they don't know they're being filmed and they're just like the stars of this TV show 24/7. They think they're supposed to be on vacation, but all this bad shit is happening to them. Tim Meadows is in the movie as the host.
Don't they get shipwrecked, or isn't that part of it? Is that like it's a pretend right?
Yeah. There's something along those lines.
I love.
I'm not going to pretend that I know the plot inside and out.
Is there an episode of Even Stevens where
we're talking about the movies?
I know, but is there an episode where he's like being observed while he's in like a room for a significant period of time? Like he's basically just like trapped in a room and there's like it's surrounded by like glass walls. I feel like there is. The main guy. What the fuck is his name?
Anyway,
Lewis.
Yeah, I feel like that's an episode. I've only seen like 2 episodes of that show, and I think that's one of them. But it could also just be a Tyra Banks movie. Who's to say?
People have to say. Great. I do remember really liking this movie. Like, but I guess my biggest thing is like, I could still think of a TV show over the movie, even though I probably now that I'm thinking about it, I probably remember more of the movie than the TV show. But it also, like High School Musical for me, even though I enjoyed this more, it feels like a different. When I think of Disney Channel original movies, it's my list, not like Even Stevens movie.
Right. Yeah, you're
my list.
Yeah. So Even Stevens, list. I know. Like I said, like 2003, this was definitely like the last era that I would ever really be watching any of these. And it was the Even Stevens movie did serve as like the series finale to the show. So it was basically like the show start to finish, and then they ended with the movie. So I think for that reason, the Even Stevens movie had slightly better acting than most of the DCOMs, because like Shia LaBeouf obviously was a TV actor at that point, and along with the rest of the cast. So I'd say marginally better.
He's definitely a better actor currently than Zac Efron. Like Zac Efron's a good enough actor. Shia LaBeouf is like a award-winning actor.
Going along with that, Andrew, like, I mean, the fact that they had a TV show and then did the movie, like, it was acting wise quality that way. Like they already had a standard.
Yeah. Even Stevens was also just one of the shows on Disney Channel that I would watch when I turned away from Nickelodeon. Like it was one of the few on Disney Channel I would watch. So I'm a little partial to it.
Can I say it's a little wild that with the women in our lives that are absolutely obsessed with Disney, we didn't think to invite any of them to be on this pod. Not only that, but I mean, and this may be because we had no feminine voices on this pod outside of, Andrew. The fact that Xenon didn't make it on anybody's list is just surprising to me, because that is not a very good. I mean, like it's got the absolute banger of a song, but movie. It's like one of the ones that's like the most iconic DCOMs. Like it's just one, everyone knows it. And then Xenon the sequel, like come on, Zetus Lapidus, guys.
There's also 3. I don't know the third one.
I never saw.
No. So there's 4 movies that like 3 of which got mentioned: Smart House, Motocross, Even Stevens on Andrew's list that like were fighting for mine. And Xenon came real close in honor of my sisters, but also like it was a movie that like they'd watch and I'd be like, I don't want to watch this, but really I was like, I hope they leave this on. Like I fucking loved that movie.
Yeah, there was a couple that I'm sure friends of ours are going to be upset didn't make the list, including Xenon. Cadet Kelly also.
Yeah,
I never cared about it, but I know that a lot of our friends probably do, because anything that Hilary Duff did,
Halloween Town,
they were all about Halloween Town.
Couple others before we close out that I thought were going to make it. And if you guys have any others that you want to say,
hold on. Let me just give you my real quick recap, and then we'll the rest of the. So number 5, Johnny Tsunami. Number 4, Motocrossed. Number 3, Smart House. Number 2, High School Musical. And number 1, the Even Stevens movie.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to win. I think I'm going to win. I'm pretty confident I'm going to win.
We'll see.
When Griffin says that, I think he means I'm going to win. Since he stole my list.
No, it's not what he means, but I can't wait for one of us to have to watch all 5 of these movies. Going to the Mat is one I was a little surprised didn't pop up on anyone's. That was a good one. That was actually like, and Andrew I haven't watched it in a long time. Is a Lawrence. So that's part of what it was. I feel like I remembered that being a pretty decent movie, and I think Wayne Brady was in that. So a little surprised that it didn't pop. I think he was the music teacher, who was also dealing with blindness. I want to say it was Wayne Brady. I might be wrong. It's gonna come off very
So-
racist if I was wrong.
Another
Oh.
movie who I thought of, who I can never remember the name of. I just looked it up again, and it's also Andrew Lawrence. Is The Other Me, where he clones himself by accident.
Yep.
I had that in my notes. I've never seen that movie, but I was reading
Really?
the plot and I was like, what is this? And I
Yeah.
want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just looked it up.
I
I'm
don't
not
really
racist.
remember other than cloning himself.
It is Wayne Brady. Another one that I don't remember being that good, but for whatever reason it just stuck out in my head was Can of Worms, where there were like aliens that came to Earth or something like that. And I think it was like an early 90s Disney Channel one. Again, it looked super janky. Didn't think it was going to come up on any list, but for whatever reason, I was like, I have like a good memory of the movie, but I don't really remember that much about it. It was like an E.T. kind of movie.
One that I'm not surprised didn't end up on the list, but like I forgot about Miracle in Lane 2.
Yep.
Frankie Muniz.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like based off a true story and whatnot.
Also a sign of
Um,
things to come for him since he ended up being like a race car driver.
Yeah. I guess that's really it from like everything else. We mentioned Xenon and whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
Halloween Town's the one I really thought would get on someone's list.
Yep. I think that would
But-
probably make it on. That would make it on lists. I just didn't make it on ours, but that's definitely one of
Yeah,
the ones
for
that
sure.
people- like Julia watched Halloween Town this past Halloween. Like she made me watch it, and that's the first time I've watched it in 15 years.
I was never huge into it myself.
Yeah, it didn't do anything for me.
think-
It was bad.
I think really what we learned today was that Disney Channel original movies not very good overall.
Not good.
The best thing I learned today was that DCOM is a good acronym for Disney Channel.
It's a great
original movies.
acronym.
I never will be saying all those words out loud again.
The thing about Halloween Town though is Kimberly J. Brown from Gaithersburg, Maryland. So we should have put
Ooh,
it on our list.
Shouts. Big shout. Well, it's a weird reason to put her on, but yeah. Much like some of the other episodes we've done in the past, you know, I don't want to say good lists because I don't really have a high opinion of any of our lists except for Andrew's number 2
Thomas's.
and my number 1. No, not Thomas is anything. Not Thomas is anything. Thomas is a bad list.
Your
Even
list
though
is my list.
I know. But your
Yeah,
order's
it's the same
wrong.
list.
Your order's wrong, and it doesn't have my number 1. It's a different list. Even though it's basically the same list. It's very different. Yeah, so another week in the books. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you make sure you comment below what your favorite DCOMs are, or movies that you thought were DCOMs that are really just Disney movies. Make sure you share this with your friends or your enemies, random people that you may know, family members. Have some kids and make them watch it. Like, there's a lot of options. If you're watching us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other audio platform, just make sure you click that follow button. If you're able to leave us a review, 5 stars, always preferred. If you leave us 1 star, please stop watching our podcast or listening to our podcast. You're welcome to. Just stop listening.
reviewing.
And yeah, that's it, boys. Thanks for another great week, or an average at best week.
Can't wait to win.
Just like a Disney Channel original movie, average at best.
Average at best.